How do you make sure that your personal statement includes all the impressive accomplishments that you've done without turning into just a regurgitated form of your resume? Let's talk about it. For those of you who are new, my name is Sydney Montgomery, and I'm the founder and executive director here at Barrier Breakers, where we specialize in working with first-generation and marginalized law school applicants. And today, we are talking about the personal statement. Now, those of you who have been here at our channel for a while know that we love talking about personal statements. We love the writing process. We love optional statements. We love give me anything that involves writing. And that really is the bread and butter of our company. So if you're sitting here like, I don't know what to do about my personal statement. I don't know how to write it. Just keep listening to our podcast episodes, our YouTube videos. We will help you. I also want to make sure that all of you know that if you have a fee waiver, we have a free course for you. It is Mastering Your Personal and Diversity Statement. It really can't get any clearer than that. It's completely free, asynchronous 4-week course. And we are still enrolling students in our one-on-one advising packages. We have a team of current and former admission deans and directors here at Barrier Breakers who want to walk alongside you as you are drafting your personal statements. So you can find all of those links down below and in the show notes. But today we are talking about how to make sure that your personal statement doesn't just become a narrative resume. And I have been reading law school admission personal statements for the last almost 10 years, which is a really long time when I think about it. And I think this is something that so many students struggle with because they are like, I need to make sure that law schools know all these things about me, so I just kind of have to jam it in. And I always like to remind students that law schools also read your resume. I don't know why we have this notion that law schools don't read our resume, and so we have to tell them in a personal statement or they won't know. But I promise you, admissions committees do read your resume. That is why they ask for it, usually with specific instructions. So every part of your application needs to not be duplicative. It should be complementary. It should go together. In this first video, we are going to talk about how narrative writing really sets your personal statement apart from your resume and why they are so different and the importance of narrative writing. And in our second video, we are going to talk about how to choose which of your accomplishments and which of the things in your resume really are things that are going to be in your personal statement and which might not, and that's okay, and we're going to talk about it. Let's first talk about narrative writing. What is narrative writing? This is my favorite topic. Narrative writing is writing that allows you to tell a story. There are so many people that apply to law school, so many essays that the admissions committee has to read. And I know students are always like, well, how can I make sure that my essay stands out? How can I make sure it stands out? I'm not a big fan of telling students how to have their essay stand out, because usually if it's standing out, it's really standing out for the wrong reasons. But I am a big proponent of making sure that you make impact with your personal statement. And you make impact by connecting with the reader, usually connecting emotionally, whether that's a happy emotion, a sad emotion, an angry emotion, any kind of emotion, right? Like, we're humans, and humans love storytelling. And stories often stick with us more than facts. So when people are remembering something, they usually tell it in a story. When people are recounting something that someone said, they're like, oh, they told a story about this. And so that's why storytelling is so powerful in your personal statement. Storytelling can really make your personal statement come alive. And that is so important because when you are choosing the stories that go in your personal statement, and we have lots of videos on brainstorming, and if you have the free course, you already know we have a story matrix brainstorming method for you. But if you've already chosen the stories, and some of them are going to come from your resume, right? You're going to have these professional experiences that have really led you to want to pursue law or have really shaped your perspective and why a certain area of law is so important to you. You're going to have a story, and I want to kind of illuminate this for you. Let's say you have an experience, maybe it's an experience where you were key to writing a policy paper or a memo that ended up advancing a certain policy or ended up making impact for constituents, right? And so you can say something like on your resume, probably should, you should have some quantifiable details, wrote X number of memos or spent X hours on, X memo or X policy briefing that was able to add X number of meals for school children in Minnesota. I literally just made that up. Or, reduce taxes by X percent for whatever, right? Yeah, in your resume, you're really highlighting what that important piece of policy or memo or legislation is that you did. And you don't have to have anything legal or policy related on your resume. As an aside, it is completely fine. There are lots of different kinds of people that go to law school who have lots of different kinds of jobs before they go to law school. But I am just using this as an example, right? So that might be how it's on your resume. Now, in your personal statement, you don't want to just say, and this led me to working at Senator so-and-so's office where I was key in drafting X memos that did that and reduced taxes by this or gave school. You literally said that on your resume. I don't need you to say it like that. What I want to know is what happened, right? Now, let's say I'm going to take this school food. I'm going to take it far. All right. One, because I studied food law at Harvard Law School, and food law is underrated and honestly very important to us all, and not enough people know about food law. So I'm going to use an example that lets me shed some light on food law because that is my favorite thing to do. So let's say, I'm going to make this up, you were able to help be part of doing research or writing a brief or a memo or policy that gave, increased the number of free school lunches to X number of children in Minnesota, let's just say. And this really shaped your desire to go into food law, and it was really important to you because you grew up food insecure, right? And so maybe the beginning of your personal statement is talking a little bit, you're not trauma dumping, but maybe you start by, you have a story that explains why food insecurity is so important to you. And then you went to study it in college and you eventually got this internship. And so now we're at the point in your personal statement where you're telling me about this internship, or it's a full-time job after college where you have really gotten to make this impact. You are not in your personal statement going to just tell me the facts as if they are on your resume. What instead you might do is, it wasn't until I was sitting writing the memo, doing research on the different ways that we could make change. And I found a section of code, I'm literally making this up, guys, but I found a section of code that really strengthened our case. Watching the memo being presented to the board of whatever, literally making this up, and then seeing the votes made me realize the impact that we were having. Later that week, I got a phone call from a mom who told me that she was so grateful for the work that we did because she had been struggling to feed her 5 children. This really made me see the power of the law. It's not just boring paperwork. It's not just log notes poring over case law, but it's real people's lives. And it showed me that research connects to real world impact. So I've made this up completely. You would not write it like that because you would actually spend time writing it and you wouldn't just make it up off the cuff. But can you see the difference between the resume, which is going to highlight the very impressive qualitative details that you did, and your personal statement, that same anecdote, where I'm actually getting to learn a little bit more about you. I'm getting to see what moves you. I'm getting to see what impacts you. And I'm getting to learn why the law and truly feel why this area of law is so important to you. Now, the key here is that we're not going to do that and you can't do that because you only have 2 pages on your personal statement. So we're not going to do that for every single anecdote. You're going to have to be choosy. You're going to have to decide which stories, which professional accomplishments are going to come from my resume, maybe into my personal statement, because in your personal statement, you also want to have space for things that are not on your resume. You can talk about, and you should talk about, things that are not on your resume in your personal statement as well. As always, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us at bit.ly/breakintolawschool. We love answering your questions. You can also comment or shoot us an email at hello@barrier-breakers.org. And if you want someone to talk to about how to employ narrative writing, how to make your stories come alive, we would love to journey with you on the process. You can see more about how to sign up with us below in the show notes, and I will see you guys very soon.